Welcome back to Gollum. So yeah, Mel asked us to try to find. Well, in fact, remind us, Mel. What is it? Yeah, a shell. There you go. Thanks, Mel.
So again, I'm running off the idea that the Riddlemaster is actually Mel's old father, disgraced or something like that.
A depiction of a Mallorn tree, classic Elvish stuff.
You'll like this one, just turn it.
If it looks similar to the Tree of Gondor, that's because it's intentional. The Númenóreans were given as a sign of trust a Mallorn tree to work with, but by the time of the death of the last king of Gondor, before the the steward took over, the Mallorn tree technically died. Not in a sense of, was broken, but withered as a symbol. And in fact, one thing that the Jackson movies do not show is that Gandalf specifically takes Aragorn after the War of the Ring to a place in the mountains where he does find a particular seed that is about the Mallorn tree, and as such plants a new one for Gondor to symbolize his rise as King Elessar.
Huh. Neat.
Again, it's those kind of little things that I understand why they were included, but they do add a nice touch, admittedly.
So I'm not sure the reason, but for the first time ever, it seems like Gollum finally has an ally who at least gives somewhat interesting dialogue.
Mostly because Mell is just as mischievous as Gollum can be, and Gollum just, as usual, wants to just find a way to escape. So, as he himself said to Smeagol, just be patient because he's actually scheming something. So obviously he's trying to.
Okay
then.
Yeah, he's scheming something, all right. He's scheming on how to defy gravity.
He's trying to potentially use her, for his advantage, and as such, still working for her might be his only ticket away from this. But who knows?
I will say this though, that honestly, I kind of wish that she had been our companion just throughout the game. Like, I mean, again, we've been with her the least amount of time, but she is already far more interesting than any of the other companions that Gollum has been. First off, she has a means to be able to speak to us more consistently, so that definitely helps. Secondly, yeah, like you mentioned, she's actually someone who's potentially just as mischievous and tricky as Gollum. Honestly, maybe they could have had her be our companion throughout the game instead of, the other lesser ones.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about the shell. The shell...
Fuck.
Okay, so the shell is on the top corner of that area that I was trying to get to. And the thing is, I honestly have no fucking clue what they were thinking when they designed that specific section. Again, let me just quickly get back to it.
You have to go all the way back up?
That's because the game saved the checkpoint right after speaking to Mel.
I mean, the nasty Riddlemaster's nasty. I can show you around if you like.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice, but we like look for a big shell from the
Skip.
Then I will show
I find it funny how when you skip, they're talking over each other. Wait, you really have to do all this stuff over again each time?
No, that's the thing. This whole thing of turning the tree, that's actually for a later puzzle, not yet. It's there, I guess, so that the player can keep a mental note of that, I guess.
Based off of the music, this scene is supposed to be creepy, I guess.
Okay, maybe I can explain. Because I noticed also from the design, because you guys probably haven't played it, this is probably a throwback to the first Thief game, The Dark Project. In it, you're essentially tasked at one point to actually go into a particular house in order to retrieve an object, because, you're a thief. But the world or setting of a franchise combines technology and supernatural, and the house that you ended up in has a lot of screwy MC Escher-esque environment that serves to test you, both here in terms of platform.
Yeah, there you go. So, see, the shell is over there in that platform that I was just pointing to earlier. So how do I get there, you might ask? So supposedly I would have to find a way to grab that other white painted ledge that you can clearly grab. But how to get there?
Overshot.
Overshot, yeah. That's the thing too. There's no actual way of controlling your jump proper. Like in terms of how long and high it is. Like, God damn it, like game. Anyway, okay, so now how do I get to that ledge? I need to get to that ledge somehow, but obviously it's too high to jump to. So, and by the way, there's a portrait of Mell there.
Maybe you could glitch and just pop over there.
Unfortunately, I didn't get that luck in this section. So supposedly, okay, there's a platform here. Maybe I get in through here. That makes sense. Let's do that. All right. Let's.
It's a bit far.
Fuck.
Well, at least you didn't die.
And yeah, like Theo just guessed, yeah, and yeah, like Theo guessed, it's actually, even though it does feel like that's the thing, Theo, as you're going to see later, if you run before jumping, you can actually in theory you should make that jump possible, because there are going to be times in this game later where you make longer jumps than this.
Ooh, the best kind of platforming, the one where, you don't think it's actually possible for you to jump there, but it actually is.
Yeah. The thing is, Theo, the game does not expect you to get to that platform that way, which makes me ask, then why is that platform... Look at this. Just look at this thing. Doesn't it look like doesn't it feel like this should be the way to get there? It makes thing is, it's very hard to start a running jump because you have so little space in there, why even have that platform there? If it's useless. I mean,
I don't know.
It feels that the developers put that platform in there just to troll you, because it makes you think that okay, that's probably where I should go, right? Like I jump on there, then I jump on the ledge. Okay, that's simple. That sounds simple enough. Here's the thing. That's the thing too. Suppose that even though usually I can press this jump button to climb a ledge up, sometimes he just jumps instead. Even though he should only do that in theory when I'm pressing up on the analog stick, but yeah.
So
that's how it is. Literally every game that I've played that has these kinds of grabbing, climbing mechanics work like that. Hey, Daedalic, maybe you should have played a bit more of Uncharted to see if you could learn a bit how this kind of platforming...
Regiment 1 would have been enough.
Sure, if it helps you.
So, you were saying something about the
I
series?
was almost done. Again, the house in that game that I mentioned, also has this kind of screwing topsy-turvy kind of thing that comes out of nowhere and feels, as a test of your skill. The major difference there is that the controls are more suited, for what you're supposed to do, and you can actually adapt to the situation, unlike in here, where, yeah,
I wonder if the idea was supposed to be that this place is haunted by the Riddle Master's
No, it's more of a case I
ghost.
get the idea the Riddle Master was a quirky person, so designed these habitation to actually, be like this.
Fuck the Riddle Master.
So then,
It's still relatively weird for an elf of Mirkwood standards, and don't get me wrong, it's not even like a racy thing, it's more of a case of it just doesn't gel with the culture. Like, why Pranduil allowed this to happen?
This house is haunted by the ghost of bad design, Jova.
but yeah, no, seriously though, I don't get why they have the creepy sounding music when the place itself doesn't look too creepy. I mean, sure, we've had paintings fall or turn upside or flip upside down, but it's never felt particularly creepy. The music here feels oddly misfitting.
But yeah, like I was saying, it feels a lot like the developers made this game without actually thinking about how an actual audience was going to play this. Because there's so many times in this game do I get stuck because of lack of clarity on how to proceed. Because again, like I said, that platform there, that feels like something that should come in handy. But no, it's just a waste of your time.
And if Gollum himself had better controls, like on the walls or anything, instead of having to rely on scripted, pathways, probably he would get the approach a la Mario 64, as in, use the environment as your oyster and still be able to make it work it out. A game that I did mention to Jove and Deji recently, called Pseudo Regalia, does exactly that. So even in a situation that seems implausible like this, because you can do acrobatic shit like jumping off the wall in any kind of environment, you're still able to get from point A to point B, just in a different manner. If they had the Gollum able to perform some kind of, acrobatics, that way, instead of relying on the section that is painted white, probably would make it work even in a situation like this, instead of, creating this frustration moment.
Okay, so here's how you actually get up there. If I remember correctly, I think it's now that I figure it out. Or maybe not. But it's actually a very dumb solution, but give me a moment. Yeah, right.
I don't think you.
So it really is one of those cases where it's just like, play to progress through this section. Play the game in the most unintuitive way you can think of. Don't use the platform that literally looks like it's there to help you. Say, there you go. You have to run and jump from there, and it's
Again, it didn't look possible.
Yeah, that's my problem too. Like I said, why not have that platform be what does it? It makes so much more sense. And also, Gollum, the shell is to behind you. Gollum, the shell is not in the wall.
He just wanted to talk to it.
We forgot to put it in, sorry.
Oof.
Let me guess. He doesn't know what it looks like, so.
No, that's the thing. He actually knows. He described it using a riddle. Again, that's one of the few moments where it tells me that, the makers of this wanted to integrate what we know about Gollum already, like his stuff with the Hobbit, for the narrative.
I'm guessing then he got it, but we couldn't animate him actually picking it up.
Yep.
And the thing was, he had it to his backside. Why not at least have him facing it to give the idea that he picked it up?
But how does a shell help us get to the king?
The shell doesn't, but what's inside it might.
What's inside
A crab?
Girl?
Oh.
The elf is mocking us.
To be fair, I'm kind of with Gollum this one.
I love how that one even has that before.
Okay.
The elf is mocking
guys
us. The elf is mocking us.
Do you guys have a time real quick?
Go to 13:30 or something. Shiny button.
13:21.
Okay.
Sure.
Again, I'll give it credit. This is actually the most interesting interaction Gollum's been having with any of his partners. Where were these kinds of interactions throughout most of the game? Wait, it looked like a cutscene was going, but just...
I skipped it.
Alright,
And click.
Go.
I skipped the cutscene because we already saw it.
Yeah, basically Gollum looking up some broken bottles
Old brass bottle.
and moldy cheese.
Yep.
But no, seriously, again, and look, I'm not even gonna act like this is masterful, but for the first time, I actually give a crap about what's
There's
being
also
said
the
between
fact,
characters.
again, for for me and Pedro, who are more expert about classic point-and-click games, you can definitely feel what would be the equivalent, because they're using the same thought process that would be used for point-and-click game. Character reaching a big area of a screen with different objects and environment, in the background. A simple set of instructions, combining items for the solution of a puzzle, talking with characters about it potentially, maybe adding a bit of wit, and basically there is that.
Oh, I'm familiar with point-and-click games myself. I played my fair share, so
Like you
I do
said,
get what you mean in that regard.
Keep in mind, both, like I said, Daedalic is more inspired by LucasArts stuff, like Monkey Island or The Dig.
Alright.
I forgot what it's called.
I can finally leave this godforsaken house.
funny, Pedro. That's kind of the quote that Gareth says at the end of that level that I mentioned.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, no, look, I mean, like, I am very well privy to the concept of a point and click, focusing a lot more on the dialogue than the overall gameplay, but, like, this game didn't even have that going for it until we got to speaking with Mell. And the sad thing is, Mell shows up in the later half of the game, when we're, like, 70% of the way through. So again, like... Okay, even if the game is magically incredible from this point on, all that game you have to slog through to get to this point is just... No, not worth it.
Always judging, hurting us, calling us names.
But that being said, I will give credit where credit is due. Someone actually remembered to make a character interesting with Mell. I don't know why they couldn't have made all the characters as interesting as Mell, but what you gonna do?
I mean, at least we've got an interesting character as opposed to, like, none.
Congratulations. It only cost
One character that wasn't boring.
it only cost us 70% of gameplay time.
Yay!
Hooray.
I mean,
It really is like a monkey's paw, like with Fairfence Rapper Frame Core. Look at that, guys! Fairfence Rapper Frame Core doesn't have some mixing issues, but we had to sacrifice the English dub to accomplish this.
You know, how messed up would it be if actually it turns out that Gollum actually falls in love with Mell, but since, you know, it's Gollum, she has to die or something?
No, not really. Remember the words of Gandalf in the Fellowship of the Ring. Gollum loves and hates the ring, only the ring, just as he loves and hates himself. He will never get freed of the desire to have it.
You know, the thing is, I wonder if they wanted to imply he could maybe go against
Alright,
it.
let's try this again.
Smeagol can actually win out against Gollum in these debates, so I do wonder.
There's a difference in the end. Fuck you. That's no. No, okay. I didn't know about that. Why the fuck do you turn Gollum's signature way of a Cowabunga equivalent? I didn't know about that.
So, I guess that is just what Gollum does in that scenario.
Like, I get it, you want a moment of levity because the game might be too bleak, but give me a break.
It'd be like if in the Batman the Animated Series, Batman decides to go swimming. He jumps into the jumps off the diving board and he goes, "I am Batman!"
Or I am the Knight!
Like, keep in mind, well, again, the media that you mentioned suits itself also for bizarre comedic moment, even of the dark variety, or bizarre, screwy. For example, Batman laughing when he's captured by Harley Quinn, for example, Like he said, there is a sort of mystique to Tolkien's work that this kind of humor, as we noted in another part where there was the orc slaver that said, like, maybe that's a Smeagol problem or something like that, just does not work. Like, he trying to inject more modern type of humor in it is just...
Like, I can get
I can feel Tolkien's,
corpse.
Foot phalanx twitching as a result of this.
That sounds like I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like a Dio problem.
Honestly, I imagine in universe Gollum just sells out and patents his term "my precious" and makes millions off of that.
No, I can.
Every time someone says precious,
No.
I'm sorry because it's technically a minor thing, and therefore I'm most likely nitpicking. But geez, it really does stand out.
No, I can see. I can see that. Like it's the writer. No, I can see what Theo means. It's the writer not committing to what he's adapting.
Also, not for nothing, Gollum, but aren't you trying to be on the stealthy side? Like, maybe yelling while jumping into that pool might alert some of the guards.
Know about Deagle.
To be fair, yeah, Mell was basically in the front cell while Gandalf was interrogating Gollum, and Gandalf was not exactly lowering his voice, so...
Yeah.
Again, be glad that the Peter Jackson movies did give us a more gentle kind of portrayal of Gandalf during his grey period, because again, Bakshi was a bit more on point in how he is in the book, a bit more dickish.
Oh, wow.
Remember, Jova, even Jackson could not avoid the line that he says to Pippin. It says, "Fool of a took, throw yourself here next time and rid us of your stupidity," you know?
But yeah, no, I was actually referring to what Gollum was saying to Mell. Like, it's interesting, but it seems like he's finally reflecting on how messed up it is that he killed Deagle. Like, my god, is he actually learning? Not that
Well,
this
he
will
had
matter,
500 years
since we know
to do so, and clearly that didn't work.
I guess the reason this
that
catches
didn't
my
work.
interest is like, well, by the time of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, he don't really give a fig at that point. So I do wonder if this is meant to show his development to that point in time. Also, now we have, of course, stamina for holding on, even though most other places we don't.
With her, no, on the bars it has been...
The way it works, Jova, is if Gollum has his feet on the wall like he has right now, no stamina is consumed. But when he has his, when he's just grabbing on just by his hands, that's when stamina starts decreasing.
See, for those bits, I can understand the stamina meter, and I think it's a bit more balanced than the running thing animation, because at the very least it provides you with the idea that you have to, work your way through, the obstacle without having to rely exclusively on standing on a ledge and waiting all the time.
Now take Gwendel's shell and put it under your tongue. You
What?
breathe underwater like a fish.
Of course.
Breathe. Alive without breath, as cold as death.
Only a children's song.
So that's the game's way of, I guess, giving you a chance to go get the collectible you missed, but I don't give a rat's ass. Moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Not that we can animate Gollum doing this, I guess.
Ever drinking. Never drinking.
That's an actual poem from, not poem, but an actual riddle that was used in The Hobbit.
Neat.
Wow, this water is particularly cyan.
I'll say. Did they put in some chlorine recently?
Oh, gotta love it. The section where you actually breathed underwater was just for a transition between two levels. Now you're still back at having to have an air meter.
That is stupid! Like, we have the shell still. We should be able to breathe indefinitely underwater. What the hell? Gameplay story segregation. This is taken to an extremely high level.
The Lord of the Rings. Behold, as Gollum jumps from place to place while nothing else happens.
It's like that Doctor Who video game that released during the Matt Smith era. The era that's defined. Yeah, the era that's defined by very fast-paced, actiony stuff, and yet the video game has been moving across very slow platforms.
I actually haven't played yet the Eternity Clock, but I haven't heard much about it, but I am curious to see how it is.
Did the David Tennant...
Doctor Who games are a bit weird as a material. Unless you make them, again, kind of like a point-and-click game, you cannot exactly make them super actually material because the Doctor is more methodical. They will be more fitting about puzzle solving.
We did definitely get more action in Doctor Who, starting with what fans deem as the new era.
My point is that you cannot just have the Doctor grab a gun and shooting Daleks himself.
Yeah, fuck that. I want a Doctor Who first-person shooter.
What about Asdwibs? Has the Doctor ever just gone blasting?
Yes.
mostly the early years, particularly. Linka reviewed a comic
It's like
recently.
the Six Doctor mainly.
Whoa. Also, the first Doctor did for the comic run when this mythology was a bit more unclear. You know, not necessarily going gongo, but it was definitely more prone to violence and extermination of species.
Perhaps a spin-off Dalek video game could work as a first-person shooter.
I'm curious, did the David Tennant era ever get video games?
Okay.
The closest it ever got was a video game based off Doctor Who Top Trumps.
Also, I think the more recent video games involves both 13 and 10th.
Yeah, because from what I understand, 10th Doctor seems to be the most popular. I mean, heck, they brought him back for Doctor 14, so that's something. But yeah, to bring this back to Gollum, yeah, it's nice that we're finally getting some nice co-banter dialogue. Still doesn't change the fact that the gameplay itself is, well, just look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, is it on sale at the moment on PlayStation Store?
It is actually.
Not that I'm going to buy it, but
Yeah, I was about to say,
it's worth having a check.
But Wibs, it is on sale, but it's a standard version, which means you cannot have extra Syndrome voice acting and the lore compendium.
Oh no!
I can't give a shit. Well, it is. Since I'm on PlayStation Plus Premium, I can play a game trial.
Well, there you go then.
Alright.
It's an hour, but that's all I'd want to play of the game anyway, so it works out.
Well, there you
Also,
go.
as for price, it's £50 for this.
Wait, it's not on sale anymore? Because I remember.
$49.99 more accurately, but I'm not paying 50 quid.
Well, okay, hold on. Like,
I barely even paid £5.
Maybe, Pedro, it's a case where it's on sale for the rest of Europe, but not for the UK.
it's weird because the last time I checked, I thought that the standard edition was on sale. Hold on, give me a moment.
Wait a minute. This level.
Oh never mind. I guess the sale ended. Yeah, to be fair, yeah, it's yesterday was Wednesday, so yeah, that makes sense.
This room looks like a reskin of that one room from the other prison in the mountain. Like, it just looks like it, but with some new textures patched in. Like, seriously, it's got the chandeliers, the throne room.
To be fair, they
overall.
do look substantially different, so it's not just a matter of different texture.
We must go back.
Okay. Yes, the stuff that they put in looks a bit different, but the overall outlay of it seems eerily similar to the point where I have to wonder if maybe the devs were stretching their creativity a little thin with this. Now that they had to rush it, like... No. This looks way too much like how that other level worked. Granted, I guess there aren't guards in this one, so technically it's easier. Oh, he's okay.
Alright, let's see. Come on, like... Okay, so here's the big problem with this section, it's kind of difficult to realize, once again, the overall progression that is supposed to do. So you're probably wondering, what do I do to be able to... Because as you can see, when I jump to this bit, all it does is allows me to, move to the sideways, but even if I could potentially get through around the entire thing, there's not enough stamina in the meter for me to even do anything useful here. So I guess we'll have to see in the next part, and there you go. How exactly does Gollum get out of this one?
What was with that flashing there?
Because every time the game needs to load an area, there's either a flash or a sound of a for whatever reason, and I don't understand why.
Someone just decides to throw a flashbang.
That was it was a director. It was a director throwing his shit to the ground and leaving.
Ah, you fool!
All right. So, game, where exactly am I supposed to go?
It's the
Oh, you
where
see,
the fuck do I
Pedro,
go
the quest-
game.
You see, Pedro, the quest marker is pointing.
Backward jump. Okay, so I have to jump here, right? Because usually the game will have the square prompt to backwards jump. I can backwards jump at any time. Don't get me wrong, but the game normally will give me a prompt when I'm supposed to do so for progression's sake.
Ow.
So
Like I
what
said
now?
before- Like I said before, this quest arrow is next to
Okay,
useless.
judging from the placement of the columns, you're supposed to move from one to the other using the chandelier as your method of moving.
You'd think, right, Tail?
Well, that's what we need to find out in the next part.
So everybody, all right. So here's the cliffhanger, everybody. What is the fucking key to getting to progressing through this place? Tune in next time to find out.
Yeah.
Riveting.